Our project is called Arctic Domestication in the Era of the Anthropocene, and it brings together different scholars from anthropology, from archaeology, from history and from science studies. Now, why do we study domestication? We believe at this particular moment we need to understand more about human relations to plants, to animals and to landscapes, particularly in the context of what is now called the Anthropocene, which recognizes a huge anthropogenic or human impact on their environment. We need to understand both what we habitually do, but also all those other marginal practices that are not talked about so much, about how we live on this planet. When we say domestication, we normally think about something that either happened a long time ago, as in the Neolithic Revolution, like in the Middle East, when they tamed goats and sheep and cows and so on. Or biologists might think about a genetic difference that can be detected in an animal's body, for example, showing a difference between the domesticated and the wild. In anthropology, we often think about human control and mastery, so that what is not domesticated is by definition wild, untouched by humans, it lives on its own, and what is domesticated is somehow changed and changed to serve our purposes. And that is not entirely wrong, but it's also deeply biased on a particular way of understanding our relations to animals and plants. Now, in this project, we believe that the idea of farming, of a particular kind of cultivation, making farms and of husbandry animals in controlled and in confinement, has a too strong presence when we think about domestication. Because there are many other practices that are really not about control and really not about confinement of animals, that also are central to how we humans inhabit the earth. And we believe that a too strong focus on human control has actually blocked us from seeing all these other ways of thinking about domestication. We believe also that an assumption that human civilization rests upon farming is also wrong. And it's very easy to see this when you think about the Arctic, for example, or the northern regions where people also live, but where they live well in spite of the fact that it was never actually possible to put a seed in the earth and expect it to grow and harvest. These are places that are too cold to grow most things. Maybe that you can grow a little grass, but that's about it. And it's the environment doesn't really allow you to subsist on a farm. You can own a farm, but it doesn't really help much. So we look at environments that actually resist many other practices normally thought about in relation to domestication, such as farming. So these regions can be the Arctic, but they can also be savanna. They can be jungles. And when we look more closely, we find that actually there are lots of people living in environments that do not fit with this model. So what we do in this project is to try to explore all those other ways of being in the world and of, as we say, domesticating plants and animals and landscapes that have been silenced or marginalized by the dominant narratives about domestication.